Hey, what's going on, crew? Clutch here, and I've got another, amazing first look for you for another map that I'm sure is going to be extremely popular. That's right, you know it. American Life by Lancy Boi. It's coming soon to, farming sim game near you. Let's get to work. Here's our first look. Let's do this thing. Bitter batter. So, folks, this is our first look at American Life farming by Lancy Boi, like I said. And just take into account that this could change. The map itself could change slightly with possibly number of farms, possibly number of sell points, that kind of stuff. Things could still potentially change. So take what we're looking at here with a little bit of a grain of salt. However, the map is, as you can see, for the most part, completed and ready to go. So once again, this is a North American style map, a Midwest style map. More specifically, of course, when you're on the map, you're going to find 44 fields. It's a 2x map, and it's going to be available for all platforms once it is released and passes Giants testing. Now, it also has a number of farms. It has, one larger style farm, I would say, one large farm. You're also going to find a couple of mid-size farms with some other animals there. And on top of that, guys, you're going to also find a couple of, smaller farms that maybe you kind of want to start from scratch and just kind of figure out your own thing on, such as the sheep farm down here. Now, at the center of the map, you're going to find, a small town site. Nothing crazy, but you're going to find, a couple sell points right down there, a fuel station, and also a seed purchase point just in the back corner over there. And then one of its more noticeable features of this map is the main highway system that kind of runs right down the middle. A little reminiscent of some other maps, but you got a main highway that runs right down the middle, and as well this old train track here that kind of skirts through between some of the farms and across some of the roadways. Now for sell points, you technically have 7 different sell points. You got 3 for your grains, and then you've got 4 for, your special materials. Right up here, we're coming up to the northernmost sell point. This one here is North Grains, which will take, all your main grains, of course. Another grain sell point right along the tracks. This is the highway sell point. And lastly, the big one right here. This is our animal grain sell point down in the southern section of the map. Now, right beside that, you're going to find a bale and manure sell area, as well as an animal dealer kind of connected to it. In fact, there's actually 2 animal dealers. This is the first one, and this would be the second, which is actually just beside our other sell point at the north, the most northerly sell point. So you got 2 animal dealers that are, on either side of the map as well. As for our other sell points, you've got your sawmill over on the far western side, the truck stop, which is right downtown in the center of the map, which takes your milk, your egg, your rice, and believe it's potatoes as well. Kind of an interesting sell point here right in the middle of town. And just across on the other side of the highway, you're going to find the biogas plant, which, takes all our, biogas kind of stuff. You guys remember biogas plants, right? You got to purchase this one. Don't forget, you got to buy it still. And I almost forgot the spinnery, which takes your wool cotton. Also a manure sell point as well, which is in the very far northwestern side of the map. Now, as for your base crops, you're going to find, all the standard crops, of course, but you're also going to find a couple additional. You're going to have your alfalfa, rye, sorghum, and rice. In fact, let's take a look at a couple of these guys. Here we have our alfalfa, pretty much ready to harvest. Just getting ready there. Now it's up into full growth. This is our rye in our first or last growth state before harvest. And here is rye ready to be harvested. Sorghum, once again, last growth state. Look at those bright red fields. Here's your sorghum when it's ready to harvest. And lastly, our rice in its last growth state, and our rice once it's ready to harvest. So as for the farms, like I said, there's a couple that are, a little bit bigger. This is arguably, this is the biggest farm. Let's be honest. This one here is a good size. You've got a couple outbuildings. You've got a massive cattle barn area, and look at the slurry pit. In fact, this is something I want to show off a little bit more because this is kind of cool. I mean, it's very similar to some of the other some slurry pits that are in some of the other maps. However, of course, it's just a dirt dugout hole, which you can just back up to with your slurry tender and load up from the side of the pit. I don't think I've seen an actual pit like this done before. This one's kind of unique. Usually you get the enclosed pits. This one's kind of different, and I like to watch the slurry bubble up from the bottom. It does actually move as more slurry comes in. Right now we have, I believe, about 25,000 liters of slurry in here. And where does that slurry come from? Well, that's these massive cattle barns we got right next door. You've got like a milking barn, I believe it is, on the one side. This is our water trough outside. Looks like it's a little bit on the dry side. But inside here, this is where, we're going to be able to purchase our cattle from. And you can see the manure does not go into a pit in here. Just be aware of that. Your manure is all going to gather in the back side of this one building right here. So if you're looking for your manure, this is where you're going to find it. Now, right next door, you're also going to find a little calving shed. Just caught me off guard when I opened the door and you see, it's like, oh, it's a calving shed. And the one thing you're not going to find on most of the other farms is, a vehicle maintenance area. You got a vehicle maintenance bay right in here built right into this farm. So this one here is by far It's the biggest and most fulfilled farm, I would say, of anything else on the map. Now, our next farm, it is a bit smaller, and by quite a bit, actually, and it's a hog farm. It still has the manure pit right built into it as well. And, of course, it's got some silos and some outbuildings, but nothing by comparison to the other side. Across the road, you do have a horse stable as well, built right across. There you go. Look at that. We got some horses out there enjoying the field. So, yes, a little bit more rustic, and you're going to find the silo system for this actually kind of, well, built in back and behind here. Follow the road, up the road. And then you're going to find a small silo system just built in behind here. That's technically the one that kind of goes with that farm. Now, just down the road to the west, you're going to find another small farm. However, no animals on this particular farm. Just a bunch of outbuildings and a silo system, and kind of a unique silo system here as well. You got one bin with auger-style loading system there. You've got augers going in, augers going out. But it still works just as you would expect. Now, I do want to make note that even though this is one of the smaller farms potentially, and maybe not one of the one that most people are going to pick, there's still a ton of attention to detail done to this farm here. You can see you've got, well, a fuel purchase point right here as well, so you can buy fuel right on your farm. All the buildings have doors that open and close so that you can park vehicles inside, of course, and most of these actually have, well, light switches as well. In fact, most of the buildings you can go inside on this map, you're going to find that almost all of them have light switches, and there's been a little bit of extra attention to detail put on that. You can see as we come in here, you've got some equipment here. There might even be an Easter egg in that back corner. You probably should go hit that when you have a chance. So on top of that, there are two other smaller farms that are pretty much ready to go with some small silo systems and some that don't even have a silo system, just some outbuildings. But I think we've touched on pretty much all of them there. There is only one last little point that I do want to look at before we wrap this up. And that there would be, well, the main vehicle shop, the purchase point for vehicles. This here is the vehicle purchase point. And if you don't recognize this building, this one here is the Elk Mountain Nation main farm shed that he's got built. And I love seeing this put here as the main vehicle warehouse. Absolutely love this building. And it's kind of a center point almost for this because you're going to be spending some time here, of course, when you buy vehicles. You need to go take a look quickly inside. We'll just mosey on through the main doors. You've got your front desk where, well, you can make your purchase for vehicles right here. Scooch around to the side. Of course, you've got an office here for, well, the owner's office. Let's just close that door on up. And then in the back, well, you've got a massive vehicle bay that even has an elevator that goes up and down inside of it. This is a fantastic shop. Love this shop. Elk Mountain Nation did this shop, and I'm glad to see that it's making some good use of it on this map here. It's kind of a focal point of it. Love this shop. Love what they've done for it here on this map. So just to give you an idea as we wrap things up, at some of the fuel prices, currently they're set, I would say, a little bit on the expensive side, but that's my opinion on that. You can see we've got our 44 fields, and we can go to the prices now. You're going to vary up to about $1 million for some of the sections. Now, they are broken up into sections. They're not just one field beside each other. Some of them are combined, but for the most part, you're going to find one field after another. So if we take a look here, for instance, field 14, which is just south of us here, it's a $500,000 field. But if we go up to where we're at right now, it combines 2 and 3, and it's going to go for $1 million. Now, we're on normal difficulty. Be aware of that as well. But you can see some of the prices as we kind of click through here. Anywhere between, $400,000 and $1 million is kind of the base on that. Some of these bigger fields on the outskirts, you're up over $1 million very easily there. And it seems to be like right around that, well, 1.8 million range if you go for 35 and 33, mind you. So there's a few that are a little bit up there on the cost price index of things, but you know what? Some of them are reasonable for sure. So currently, if we look at some of the smaller farms, so for instance, our sheep farm right here, you're going to need to buy a couple different areas if you want to get, well, the sheep farm as well as maybe some of the bays and an area to purchase and put some silos down on, which is up north here. It might take a couple spots. They're not all built together. Just be aware of that. For instance, here, our pig farm does not include the horse farm across the road. So there's thing. Also, the silo system is not included with that farm right now as well. So there's a couple different areas you might have to purchase multiple tracts of land in order to get that farm together. Still, this is not a bad map, actually, for a multiplayer map. There's several farms that are kind of located around, and you can easily, well, give people out some farms. They could build from there. So, folks, that is where we're going to wrap this up right here, right now. Like I said, there's still some changes that can happen to this map, but I think for the most part, we are looking like we are set and ready to go. Things look great. Everything seems to be working just the way you would expect. So hopefully we'll be seeing this in the testing list in the coming days. Just be reminded that we currently don't know the release date on this as of yet, and we should have some more information in the coming days, coming weeks on exact release dates on this. So hopefully very, very soon. But like I said, as you can tell from, well, this entire video, This map is ready to go. Here's our first look, and things are looking pretty darn good. So folks, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, you guys know what to do. Slap that like. Of course, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing that's going on in Farming Simulator. And I will catch you guys next time. This is Clutch from, well, American Life Farming from Lancy Boi. Over and out.